Hello everyone and welcome to another React video. Today we're gonna be looking again at Glueboy, Vampire the Masquerade, Bloodlines 2, newest clan, Banu Haqim lore. From last video he said he's gonna be making videos on each specific clan. However, I didn't see a actual video on an actual set of videos on clans besides those that are gonna be in Bloodlines 2. But it's still a good start. He is gonna talk about Banu Haqim, the clan that I said I got absolutely terrified by them the moment I realized what they are, and so easy to become Diablerist clan. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. I'm gonna have Glueboy's video in the description, and let's jump right into it.
You know what? I'm getting sick and tired of it. Kindred society, too chaotic. In a world where the Camarilla has a new prince every week for whatever fucking city they're in, the Anarchs making do with their pretty lax set of laws and rules in the fact that a lot of times is non-existent. When the Sabbat are quickly running through their supply of car bombs, what do we do? What do we have? We need someone to bring order and justice. And that would be the responsibility of Clan Banu Haqim. At least that's their, on paper, wants and goals. As Clan Banu Haqim is the clan of assassins, mercenaries, and by their nickname, the judges, as they see that they are the ones who are fit to judge kindred society, because no one else will. No one else can hold these uber powerful vampires to any form of justice or punishment for the shitty actions they get up to. Now, this also isn't just like a fancy name and a funny little title put on just a bunch of serial killers. No, they are an order of assassins. They have rules and things they follow. And a quick analogy I can make here is they're kind of like the Assassin's Order in Assassin's Creed.
Of course.
But if they were run competently, I'm not going to sit here and rant about Assassin's Creed, but the main thing, at least members of the Banu Haqim will actually follow the fucking rules and follow the order and don't have a stupid motto that's meant to be like wrong. You shouldn't have a motto for your order. Nothing is true, everything's permitted, where the point of the motto is that it's not true. Okay, I'm not. It's stupid. But anyways, Clan Banu Haqim are mercenaries for hire.
I'm still a fanboy for all the Assassin's Creed movie games. Last one that I played and I felt like it was good was 3. After that, everything went down the hill quickly. Some people like Black Flag, not me. Just personal matter.
Hire assassins, and they disperse justice and murder. A lot of murder. They're very good at murder.
Yeah.
And they do it for a high price. And these ideals stem back to their antediluvian way back in the day during the age of Cain in the first city, where their antediluvian, Haqim. Now, there are conflicting stories on how Haqim turned into a vampire. Either he was a dope-ass hunter and a really good warrior that traveled the land learning languages completely on his own, including the language of the dead, which impressed a lot of people, including one of Cain's chowder, which turned him and boom, now he's a vampire. And then the alternative is, this is one that's told by some members of the Banu Haqim, is that he was serving under a king and queen in the first city. They were pretty shitty and vampiric, to where he rose up, killed them, and drank their blood for some reason and became a vampire.
Yeah.
So either he got
I'm believing the first version, not the second one.
turned or he got turned by choice. But Haqim served his role pretty well. His main role, defenses. He defended the city against a lot of people who tried to besiege Enoch. And, oh boy, mainly because Enoch was very rich, very prosperous, and a lot of neighboring cities didn't have that luxury and really wanted a piece of the pie. But eventually, God sent...
You'd be surprised how common this idea is. It being true, of course, yeah. You have something we don't want? Yes? Okay, we're gonna take it. But it's not for sale. I don't care.
The flood, and Enoch was destroyed. Haqim straight up just left. He was not involved in the plot with the other antediluvians to kill their sires. He just kind of dipped. To where eventually he came back to the second city, which the second city is the city that the antediluvians set up after, Enoch was washed away. Haqim showed up and found a city full of bickering vampire politics, kindred just going wild on the populace, just doing whatever they want with the mortals, spawning so many children and who would then go on and also be shitty, having major god complex, politics started happening.
Sounds so relatable to what's happening right now. So in a way, yeah, you can in a way, you can understand why they're saying that they are the only ones who can do justice, because everyone else sucks. Everyone else is an asshole. But of course, they are also the assholes because they're kindred in themselves. So yeah, it's really ironic.
Newer, typical vampire stuff, the stuff you get up to in your chronicles, was happening here. Hakim saw all this and thought it was cringe. He's like, this is fucking stupid. I don't want to be involved. I hate this. And that's his key defining point: neutrality. This man doesn't want to deal with it. He just wants to do his own thing, defend the city, be a warrior. It's all he cares about. And then all these people are trying to pull him into politics. To where eventually, it kind of got to a point where a giant civil war was going to happen, and the other antediluvians, hat in hand, came to him begging to enforce something, because as they all saw it, they can't trust anyone else of their siblings. Everyone was vying for power, backstabbing constantly, except for Hakim. He's the only guy who's essentially a third party. So they begged him, please just give us something. To where he established the judges, which in his clan were then able to disperse justice to those acting kindred who were just really fucking around at being awful
So yeah, they asked for it. Yeah, they wanted that. Now it's all their own problem.
people. He was able to kill them, which imposed some really early law and order in the vampire world. And more importantly, this allowed him and the judges to protect the mortals of the city, which is actually a pretty big tenet and deal for the Banu Haqim. They really want to protect
Kindred who care about mortals, that's like, you almost never see it. So yeah, to some degree, you should play like a Banu Haqim who is not an asshole, doesn't try to drain mortals. I mean, of course you're gonna do it. You're a vampire. There's a say, I don't know a kindred who has lived for 100 years or so and hasn't drained once a human. If you manage that, that's a pretty good achievement in itself.
the mortals who can't really do anything to fight back. Again, this isn't to say they're great people, because they're still fucking vampires, so they're monsters, but it's something. Now, I'm not going to sit here and regale you with the entire history of Clan Banu Haqim and everything about Hakim. The only thing that really matters with him is that eventually he went to torpor and is still asleep or dead. No one really knows. But what do you actually get if you play one of the Banu Haqim? Well, first up, your disciplines. You have access to your 3, which is going to be blood sorcery, which is kind of what it sounds like. It's blood sorcery.
No, the only other clan who has blood sorcery is the Tremere. And the Tremere holds this discipline like there's no high enough price for them to sell that discipline, to sell blood sorcery to anyone. If the Tremere found out that one of their own sold blood sorcery to someone outside of the clan, they're gonna probably put him to death. So yeah, to the Tremere, blood sorcery is everything. Is considering that, yes, we learned in the last video that they were mages who lost their power, that blood sorcery is their only symbol that, look, we still have power. We're gonna hold on to it, like our complete existence relies on it, which, yes, it does.
You can manipulate blood, largely your blood, and in some very cool cases, other people's blood, to the point where it seems like you're using straight up magic. It isn't really magic, because that's a different system, and vampires cannot use that form of magic. You also get celerity being super speed, but in the idea,
and also known as the one discipline everybody that plays the game wants to get, because it is absolutely broken. Not as broken as actually in V5, celerity is way weaker than in the V20, the 20th anniversary. In the 20th anniversary, if you have like level 3 celerity, you can attack 4 times in one turn. And that is absolutely broken.
idea of not just physical, also mental. You can think faster and move faster. And then obfuscate, vampiric stealth, where you can go invisible or really hide your own intentions. This is really set up to make them the perfect assassins. This is just in 5th edition. In the 20th anniversary edition, blood sorcery is replaced with quietus, which is essentially blood sorcery, but
in the okay, I'm gonna keep stopping because I know things. In the 20th anniversary, there isn't there is blood sorcery. However, it is more separated into different sets of things that you can do with blood. You can control nature. You can use the elements. You can extract power from the earth itself in order to become stronger. You can use the blood just like in blood sorcery. You can use lightning. You can use lightning. You can get storms or something like that. You can, there's even one skill that you can talk with trees and stones. With, for some reason, I still have no idea how to properly use it. But yeah, in the V20, blood sorcery is even more, actually pretty much in the 20th version, every discipline either is more defined or and more powerful than you'd imagine normally. In V5, they've been like toned down because you're supposed to play like younger vampires, not as OP, and also a more friendly version. But yeah, V20, absolutely a blast to play it. It's so fun, it's so chaotic, and you feel like you can tear down a house just with your bare fists if you play it right.
With your own special Banu Haqim stuff. Actually, my favorite, I'm a little sad some of these didn't carry over, because my absolute favorite spell is Dagon's Breath, which has the really fun power of drowning somebody in their own blood, because you put their blood in their lungs, so they just quietly drown. Fucking terrifying.
There's in V5, I believe there's also Dagon something, which instead of putting blood in their lungs, actually no, these two humans. Let's talk about what I know. In V5, Dagon's rat call, whatever, basically gets rid of some of a target kindred's blood, basically forcing them either to retreat or use less disciplines or risking going into frenzy. Frenzy basically meaning the beast takes control, and no one, not even them, wants that to happen. So it's a very good way of of saying either you get the fuck out or bad stuff is gonna happen that not even you want to happen.
Terrifying, holy shit. And then your compulsion. In a situation where you make a bestial failure or your compulsion riles up, the Banu Haqim have the compulsion of judgment. If they see somebody breaking their personal convictions, the thing that they hold themselves to, what they declare that their beliefs in morality is, they see someone break that, they want to drink them very badly. It is a little rough.
So make sure you don't tell a Banu Haqim what your morality is, because they're gonna make sure that if you fail, you're fucked.
Because sometimes people doing this are vampires, where they really just want to sit and drink you dry for daring to break a law. So they can do this to vampires and commit the act of diablerie, which is drinking a vampire dry and taking their soul, which is a pretty big deal. It makes you powerful, but this is essentially kindred cannibalism, and it's very frowned upon. And yeah, their current clan bane is that of blood addiction, because once they start drinking that vampire blood, it's really hard to stop. They have to fight their beast inside of them to stop drinking a vampire. But also, I did say current. In older editions, their bane has changed. So way back in the day, like the Second City, they were fighting a group known as the Bali. The Bali are satanic vampires. They worship demons. And they actually are a thing. They're statted out. They're like a thing in 20th. They're fucking weird, I'm not gonna lie. As you can see, full unironic demon worshippers, so, you know. They put a curse on the warriors of Clan Banu Haqim to make them bloodthirsty. Now, I do mean this in the case of they're vampires. So this is literal bloodthirsty. So it was a little rough. So rough that thankfully they were neutral. They did their own thing. They lived in the mountains in the Middle East. But when eventually they made more contact with kindred society, especially during the Crusades and the Renaissance, like 1500s, they got in contact with the Camarilla. The Camarilla didn't like this. So they conscripted Clan Tremere to curse them with a different curse. They gave them a curse that drinking kindred blood physically hurt them. To the point where they could take some serious damage by drinking vampire blood. Obviously, they weren't a fucking fan of this, because this also sucked, which leads to a pretty big rivalry between Banu Haqim and Tremere. And then, until recently, it has been lifted. The one who lifted it is actually the child of Haqim himself, Urshulgi. who is fucking terrifying. If this is official
My
art,
God.
like, Jesus
I'm
Christ.
scared.
So this guy, 4th generation vampire, he woke up from torpor, which, for those that don't know, I mean, torpor is a real thing. It's actually...
Torpor basically means a vampire being... So there are two versions. Whenever there's close to sunlight, a vampire will have to go to a covered place. When the sun is up, the vampire will get into torpor, basically, meaning they're gonna lose consciousness, and they're gonna be like that until the sun is down and the night is up. That meaning they can walk out freely. However, if the vampire is staked in the heart, if they are brought to 0 health, they're gonna get into torpor, which means that they are gonna be stuck in that unconsciousness until some things happen, until they are brought back to at least 1 HP, until the stake is removed, or, and this applies to the older you get as a vampire, or until a certain amount of time passes, amount meaning minutes, for the youngest kindred, up to a few decades or maybe even centuries, depending how old you are. Maybe even 100, no, not 100, let's say 200 to 300 years old. You'll probably sleep a few decades. You'll be a few decades in torpor because of it. Yeah, torpor is something normal to a vampire when the sun is up, or the most feared thing besides the sun and final death itself.
Thing in our real world. But for vampires, this can be done in 2 ways. Either they get so wounded from blood loss or hunger that they just go into a essentially battery preserved state and go into a coma for the body to recover. Or an older vampire decides, you know what, I want to fast forward. This decade's boring.
Right, I forgot. They can also do it voluntarily. Being like, okay, everything sucks. I'm gonna go in a fucking catacomb somewhere so hidden that no one's gonna be able to find me, not even someone of my kin, other kindred, and I'm gonna sleep there. I don't know how fucking long. I'm just gonna sleep. That's a way of time traveling. Okay, time travel. Actually, they're immortal. I think that'll be like time traveling to some extent.
This century.
However, if you time travel, like if you go into torpor a few decades, you're not gonna get stronger. You need to be awake in order to guess. Actually, there's a good chance you might get weaker.
Snooze fest. Let me see what the 2000s look like. And they just go to sleep. Urushogi woke up, saw this curse, and lifted it with his own blood sorcery. And now they have blood addiction, what I said earlier, because all of those years of not being able to taste kindred blood has really, really waned on them. And also with his awakening, he is so fucking important. I cannot stress this, because he's the cause of a giant schism in the clan. Now, when he woke up in like the 1900s, like 1990, he saw that a bunch of his clan members were religious now. In fact, a large chunk of them, around like half, were actually Muslim. Mainly because, like, obviously, they're in the Middle East. A lot of them are from that population. When you get turned to a vampire, you don't give up those convictions. You can still be religious in a vampire.
You give them up. However, it's a matter of humanity and how long have you been living as a kindred. Because the longer you live, you unlive, fucking venture terms, you're gonna be like, okay, I am vampire, I am past human. What was my human life? I still retain some things in order to maintain my humanity and some things that I cared, but outside of it, I don't even care anymore. I'm evolved. Evolved, not sure it's a good word, but you get the idea.
It's a thing. He was upset only because they were worshiping someone else instead of Hakim. They were valuing someone else's ideals, someone else's morality, and not revering Hakim because false idol. So he was pretty fucking pissed about this. So he told all of the Islamic vampires in Banu Haqim to give up their faith or die. A lot of them chose the latter option and ran away. Which actually, this is where the schism happens. Because either you are a true Clan Banu Haqim, a loyalist to Urushogi, where you revere Hakim and his 5 laws, which gives some pretty wide things.
Damn it.
Other than that, they practice.
I have a fly. I completely lost it. I have no idea what it is. Hopefully she got out the open window. Continue. Hold on. The laws of Hakim. I didn't know about this. The law of leadership: honor the eldest among you, for he is to rule my house when I am absent. The law of protection: ward the mortals from Cain's descendants and treat them with honor in all things. The law of destruction: slay not those of the blood, for that judgment is for the eldest alone. So do not kill of the blood. That means the bloodline, the Banu Haqim. Don't kill another Banu Haqim. The law of the word: deceive not those of the blood, for my house is founded on truth. And the law of judgment: judge those of Cain's blood and punish them should they be found wanting. Okay.
It's more frowned upon blood sorcery, stuff that was outlawed when the clan was largely Islamic, and they also dabble in just a little bit of Diablo, just a little bit as a treat. And then there's the schism ones, who largely, a lot of them are still religious. In fact, a lot of them went to the Middle East, like farther down, and actually joined up with the sect that is a bunch of Islamic vampires. This is just fun. There's just...
The Ashira are basically like the Camarilla, but with some differences in terms of name and who can lead and so on. Basically, yeah, as you said, the Camarilla version, Islamic Camarilla version.
Just a group. Shame that they're being harassed by the Camarilla now, because the beckoning is drawn everybody to the Middle East.
Oh, right, yeah.
Oh boy. And this is where your individual vampire comes in. The kindred you are playing. You get to make this decision. Both of these, like, depending on where you are in the schism, you can still be involved in so many other chronicles. Especially because, like, the Banu Haqim are still assassins. You can just fucking pay them. So is your kindred specifically involved with the Camarilla because you're getting paid to do so? Or your sire is being paid to send you along?
Especially now, since 2009 or something, the Banu Haqim were allowed to join the Camarilla. So basically, you can play a Camarilla game with you being a Banu Haqim. Will they still look at you weirdly? Absolutely. Because you are the clan that keeps saying you're a bunch of assholes if you aren't living to your honor, convictions, and so on. I'm gonna drain you until I commit diablerie. But you're still accepted in the Camarilla and you are protected by the laws.
Is this a monetary investment being made? Or are you just stuck in Camarilla or Anarch territory because you don't really have anywhere else to go? Your general clan kicked your sire, you, out of there. So now you gotta work with somebody. You can't be alone in this world. These knights are dangerous, so you gotta make some allegiances. But yeah, wraps it up. First vampire video. I will be making more. We'll see if I make like characters. I fully don't know what I'm gonna cover in World of Darkness, but I plan to cover as much as I want to, and as much as I think is interesting, which is...
That's actually a very good idea. He could be making like he could talk about canon characters. Each vampire book basically has a set of canon characters, which with their own clan and saying their history, their pros and cons, even their stats, even what the other vampires that they like, that they don't like. So yeah, that was a very good video. And this was the Banu Haqim lore by Glueboy, another great video. Learn some new things that I didn't know about the Haqim's traditions or rules, the five of them. Very good. I didn't know the schism. I didn't know that there was an actual schism. I didn't understand why the Banu Haqim joined the Camarilla. Basically, they got the Muslim version, or actually no, the non-Muslim version, one of them, to join because they were because of the schism. They were basically cut in half or something like that. Okay. Still got to know more about it. I'm still not sure if I can play a Banu Haqim properly. But I guess we're gonna figure it out. Again, Glueboy, amazing video. Link in the description. Hope you enjoy it. Like, share, and subscribe, and see you all next time.